Hello, everyone. I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha, and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm really grateful that you're listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support. And if you have any questions or videos that you'd like me to do, just put it in a comment below. And if I have the time or if I think I can do a good job on it, then I'll do one. In this one, I wanted to speak to you about planning and some nuances of planning with regards to INFJs. And this is something that I've noticed in all of the INFJs that I know. And I'm not saying that that's a huge subset of the population, but I think I can extrapolate from that INFJs are, not only are we planners, but I think we take planning to a different level. We don't just plan, but we really plan. And I wanted to give you some examples from my life that kind of illustrates it so that you get an idea of what I'm actually talking about. So one of the things that I do quite often, as you might have known already if you watch my videos, that I kind of move, not from place to place quite often, but I do end up moving quite a bit more than the normal individual. And I've lived in 3 or 4 different places in the past 2-3 years. So I move, I would say, every few months. And not only do I move within the city itself that I'm in, but I also move countries, right? And whenever I move to a new country, and if it's a country that I've never been to before, it's kind of, I'm not moving there for a holiday, I'm moving there to live. So I try to live in a place nomadically, but I live in a place for 6 months or more. And so when you're living in a place, of course, you kind of get to know the place a little bit deeper. But it's also that you can't just be living like a tourist. You can't just be going to expensive restaurants all the time, or you can't be staying in a place that's really, expensive hotel. You can do that for two weeks, you can do that for a month, but then you really have to make it more sustainable, and you have to start living like a local. And my main interest in moving around so much and being a nomad the way I do it is to live like a local in different places. I want to move to different places and then live like a local there to learn more about the culture of the place. So, when I moved to Thailand, I lived like a local there as much as possible, and I learned about how local people live and what they eat and how they speak and, the culture, where they go on a holiday. And same thing when I moved to Bali recently. But then I, kind of noticed that I do these things, and I started noticing this about myself, and I didn't realize, I think I was doing it unintentionally. And it's just something that I do in order to prepare myself for the future. And what I do is that whenever I come to a new place, I start roaming around the place to mark out everything that's around me. So first of all, I'll kind of do a little perimeter of the place that I'm living in. So if I'm staying in one area, I'll kind of, if it's like Lotundu, I'll go around the area itself and walk around or drive around and see what's there. What are the food places, which food places look busy, which food places don't look busy, where are all the people standing around milling about, what are people buying, are they buying fruit from this particular place and then they're buying fried rice from this other place, where are they getting their motorbikes fixed, where do they get their gas, and things like that, and what kind of clothing are they buying. And then so I'll kind of do like a perimeter recon mission, and then I'll kind of extend the perimeter bit by bit. So I'll start like going further out, to other city or towns around the area, and then a little bit further out and seeing what's there around that, and a little bit more further out. Eventually, over a month or two, especially if I have a good way of transportation, like a good method of transportation. So right now I have a motorbike, a scooter, I should say. And so it's pretty easy to get around. So it's very easy for me in a couple of months to recon pretty much the entire area that I want to. So I was able to go to a lot of Ubud and look at a lot of the different places to eat, look at all the places that people work at, all the places that they buy clothes at, all the random places that I want to know about. And in a lot of cases during these recon missions, what we're doing is that we're not doing it because we're like, oh, I need to buy a towel right now, so I need to go look for a place. No, we're not doing that. We're basically putting all of these different places into our database. For example, I'll go to a store that I don't actually need anything from, but it sells nuts and seeds, and I'll go in, I'll check, I'll look around. Okay, they have these, they have that, they have that. Okay, I know that. And I'm putting it all into my database. And so I know in the future, at any point in time, if I need that particular nut, if I need cacao butter, or I need almond flour, or if I ever needed it, or if anyone else around me needed it, I have it in my database. And so I can go and tell myself in the future, be like, oh, remember that place you went to? It had this, you can go there and check it out. Or if someone else asks me, I don't know, do you know? And I'm like, yeah, actually I saw it in this place, and I saw it at this other place as well, but I think this place was cheaper. Why don't you go check it out? And, I do this a lot. I'm not interested in actually, or I don't need a lot of things in general, but I'm constantly doing these recon missions where I'll go to a restaurant and I'll see, okay, I don't actually want to eat here, but I want to see what you have on your menu. Nowadays, it's really easy because on Google, you have all the menus with the restaurants on Google Maps. And so a lot of times I'll spend an hour a week or something just going through the map around me and seeing what are the different restaurants around me, what are the different cafes, what kind of food do they serve, does it look good, does it look like a place that I'd want to visit in the future, does it look like a place that would be delicious, does it look like a place that would be nice, aesthetically pleasing for me to sit and do my work. And so this is all being added into my database. It's not something that I need right now, the information, but in the future I might need it, or someone else around me might need it. And then that's important because I want to have that information to give to people, because I want to help people as well. It's not just for me, that would be extremely selfish, but all this information, this database information that I have is for everyone around me, right? And as I said, I'll do these recon missions and I'll know a lot about a place within a couple of months. I mean, a lot of times I'll be sitting there in a group of people, and someone who's local, who's lived there for longer than me, will ask, do you know where I can get this? And I'll be like, yes, actually I know, go here, go there, I have these other two places. If you can't find it in this first place, message me and I'll tell you about this other place. And I was actually sitting with a bunch of people a few months back, and one of the girls who actually has lived here for a while, 3 or 4 years, and I had only been here for 6 months at that point. And she's like, oh, I'm looking for a winter jacket, but I can't find anything anywhere. I don't know what to do. And I was like, oh, I know where you can get a winter jacket. And I saw them yesterday. I drove past it, and what I did when I was driving past this place was that, hey, that looks like a place that sells jackets. I don't need a jacket. I'm not going anywhere cold, but someone else might need it. So I'll put it into my database. And then I had that information in my database. And so the next day, or just like the next week, or very soon after, this information was needed, and I told her, these are the two places I've seen them. You should go check it out and see if you can find anything, right? And it's kind of funny because, as I said, she's been living here longer, but she probably doesn't do these recon missions. Even now, I've been living in Ubud for a year, almost a year now, actually. In May, it'll be a year. And I still do these recon missions in different parts of Ubud because it's a pretty sprawling kind of town, and, it has little villages and towns near it, and it's like a cluster of towns. And so I might know a lot about what's going on in Ubud, but I might not know what's going on in Sukhavati, which is another little town nearby, or I might not know what's going on in Pengosekan, which is another little town. You know what I'm saying? So then that's what I do. I'll just drive around in an area that I've never been to before, and I'm like, interesting, I've never been here before, let's see what's going around here. And I'll drive really slow on the side of the street, people honking at me saying, what are you doing? Well, not really. They know that I'm probably driving slow for a reason. And, I'll just look around and be like, oh, that place sells furniture. Interesting. I've never seen that kind of furniture before. Oh, that place sells petrified wood furniture. That's really fascinating. And, kind of like, I just kind of go through all of the different streets and be like, this one, this street food stall looks really delicious. I must try it. And sometimes I'll actually stop and I'll put a pin, or I'll, mark down the places that I really like so that I'm able to go back to them in the future. And so, I know this video is supposed to be about planning, but I just wanted to show you a facet of how our brain works and how we plan for the future. Like, again, a lot of times I will not know when I will need this information. I will have all of this information calculated and put into my database, but I don't know when I'll need it. I might need it, I might not need it, right? Someone else might need it, someone else might not need it. I might never use this information. You know, I have information of where you need to buy, where you can buy mosquito bats, or where you can buy really big fans or really small fans. Have I ever used it? No. I might end up using it in the future. I have no idea. But again, this is information that's kind of like here, and you know, it's like planning for the future, but in a way that's very spontaneous, actually, I would say, right? Like, it's a really interesting, you know, that we do this thing. And I know that this is probably a very specific example about travel. I just wanted to use this example because it's very poignant and it's kind of fun to talk about. I share a little bit about my life as well. But you know, I'm sure what you're doing in your life, not even with travel, but with other things, is very, very similar. You know, I know people who are majorly into money and investment and the stock market, and I know that they're constantly not only reading about the stock market, but constantly, you know, reading about random things and putting it into their database. I do that too. I'm like, I'll read about a random stock and I'm like, interesting. This looks interesting. I think this is going to be a good one. I'll put it into my database. And then a few days later, again, another stock, I'll put it in my database. And eventually, when the time comes right, and then it feels like, I should invest into this particular thing, then I can do it, right? And I do have the cash for it, or I have the disposable income for it, or I think it's the right time for it. My intuition pipes up about it. And again, these are all like, it's, again, I'm sure a little bit to do with introverted intuition, also a little bit to do with our perfectionist nature, also probably a lot to do with the fact that we like to plan, and we're always thinking about the future, right? So all of this kind of amalgamates together to create this kind of storm, a good storm, where an INFJ sits in the middle of the storm and is able to kind of plan for the future in a way that's very different from the people around him or her. So, you know, people around me are not doing this. And my sister would always comment on this. She's like, you know all these random things about the places that you're in. And very quickly, even when we moved to a different place, I was able to do this very quickly and kind of find, okay, where are the good food places? Where is this. And I was able to accumulate data in my database because, you know, now I'm getting better at it. You know, I'm getting faster at it. I'm understanding I'm understanding Bali better. And so if you ask me, you know, where is the closest place where you can get a motorbike washed? I know where it is and I can tell you about it, right? Random thing, but they do get their motorbikes washed here. Just like a car wash, actually. So I wanted to kind of share this with you because I thought it'd be interesting, and I would love to hear from you if you have this kind of, if you do this kind of thing yourself. But it doesn't have to be necessarily in travel. It doesn't have to be in stock investing. You know, it could be in very interesting, weird things. You could be planning like this when you're doing your math exam, or when you are planning for an interview or preparing for an interview. Or it could be something very, very different from this, but similar intentions and similar ways of doing it. I just wanted to share this with you. Hopefully it kind of sparks something in you, because when I started observing this in myself, it was really fascinating for me to watch it, because I really truly think it's a real big facet of introverted intuition, how it works. And as you all know, we're always trying to learn more about our intuition, so hopefully this helps you a little bit. Again, thank you so much for listening. You know, comment below, let me know what your experience with this is, and I shall see you the next time around. Bye for now.